Well, if you're in the market for a double XL sized SUV which offers you loads of road presence on the outside as well as a huge cabin on the inside, then the new Ford Endeavour is a car you should check out. Why is that? Well, just have a look at it. Doesn't it look smashing? But is this car only about its looks as well as muscular styling? Or does it have more to topple class leaders? We'll find out on the show today. Well, that boxy shape on the outside translates into a very nice and spacious boot. Now, as you can see, there's very minimal suspension intrusion. It's a very square shaped boot. There's minimal loading lip as well, which makes it easy to push in those big boxes. If you want to increase the capacity further, you can of course stow away the last row of seats, and that can be done by the touch of a button. So with the last row of seats down, as you can see, there's a huge boot area, and it's good enough for those long and big airport transfers as well as house shifting duties. And if you want even more space and you want to shift the entire neighborhood with you, then you can of course stow the middle row of the seats down as well, and that means that you get over 2000 liters of luggage carrying capacity. Well, so here I'm in the last row of the Endeavour's cabin, and as you can see, headroom is just about adequate for someone who is my height, which for reference is 5'10", and I have pushed the second row of seats all the way forward, and as you can see, I have a decent knee room, which is a bit of a surprise considering that most other cars in this category don't offer any knee room for the third occupant, so that's a good thing on the Endeavour. Also, you get your own cup holders over here, which means that if you have kids in the car, they have places to keep their odds and ends in. And with this kind of space for both knee room as well as headroom, I have to say that the Endeavour is one of the few SUVs, not only at this price point, but at many prices higher than this segment, which offer you very good space for taller adults like me for those long highway trips. Well, so here I'm in the back seat of the new Ford Endeavour, and as you can see, headroom is more than adequate. Knee room is very good as well, and the best part about these seats is the fact that you can slide them forward as well as back, and you can also adjust the backrest angle by clicking it over here. So in that sense, it's a pretty good second row seat inside the Endeavour. Also, it's generally a wide car at the back, so that means that you can sit three in comfort over here. There's a little bit of a hump in the floor panel, but it should not be too much of an issue because, as I just mentioned, it is a very wide car at the back. Well, the other plus point of the second row is the fact that the glass area is pretty big, and that gives you a sense of space inside the cabin, and also you get your own AC vents over here, which adds to the sense of luxury. So overall, a very good place for someone who really does prefer to be chauffeur driven rather than drive the car himself. Well, so here I am inside the cabin of the new Ford Endeavour, and as you can see, it's a nice place to be in. Well, among the other things, you get Ford's terrain management system. You also get cruise control, dual zone climate control, as well as HID headlamps, which also get a jet wash function. And remember, because this is the top of the line version, you also get a panoramic sunroof over here. But to be honest, I've not even listed half the features on this car. This car really does come with all the bells and whistles that you can think about for comfort as well as safety. And to know more about them, you can head to our website by clicking on this link below and figure them out for yourself. Well, in terms of overall cabin ambience, the Ford Endeavour seems to have borrowed a little bit of its styling elements from the Range Rover Discovery, and that's a good thing because this car feels very upmarket and very sophisticated. So the central screen over here as well as the AC vents are very similar to the Discovery, and that really makes this cabin feel very posh and upmarket. Also, the materials used over here are better than its main rival, the Toyota Fortuner, as well as the Chevrolet Trailblazer. So that's another plus point on the Endeavour. But the biggest plus point inside the Endeavour are the seats, which are supreme on comfort as well as cushioning. And because you're sitting up so high, it also gives you a sense of confidence as well as purpose every time you take this car out for a spin. Well, so here I am driving the new Ford Endeavour, and remember, this car comes with two engine options. There's a 2.2 litre diesel as well as a 3.2 litre diesel that we are driving today. Now, the 2.2 litre engine develops about 158 bhp of power, and the one we are driving today develops about 197 bhp, which are very good figures. And all that power is transferred to the wheels via a 6-speed automatic gearbox in the 3.2 litre version. There's no manual on sale at the moment, but the 2.2 litre engine comes with a choice of a manual as well as an automatic gearbox. And what that 6-speed gearbox does is that it makes the engine very flexible in its nature. So if you are doing speeds in excess of 100 kph on the highway, the engine is spinning at a relatively low 2000 rpm. And what that means is that the cabin feels relatively quiet and a calm place to be in for those long highway trips. Talking about the gearbox, I'll have to say it's a little slow sometimes and can be a little hesitant to respond to throttle inputs, especially when you want brisk acceleration. But I am only nitpicking over here. It's not a bad gearbox, it's a good gearbox. It does the job with good efficiency. But yes, sometimes when you are using it in the manual mode, or when you are of course wanting that quick acceleration maneuver, it can be slightly hesitant, not overtly hesitant, but slightly hesitant, and that's something that maybe Ford can work on. But again, only nitpicking. Well, because this is a common rail motor, there is a little bit of laziness below 2000 RPM, which is pretty typical of most diesels which are of this size. But that said, once you go past that 2000 RPM mark, it's a very flexible motor, it's a very responsive motor, and you have to be very careful because this engine really does love to rev to its red line. And before you know it, you can be doing illegal speeds on the highway, so you have to really feather the throttle at times because this car really does mask the speeds very well, and that's a good thing for such a big SUV. Well, the other good point about the Endeavour is the fact that you sit up so high inside it, and you will get a feeling that you are driving it from the first floor of your apartment building, and that really goes to show you what a tall car it is, not only on the outside but on the inside as well. And in fact, when you are sitting inside these seats, you get a lot of confidence, and you really do look down on other cars. In fact, you will look down on some compact SUVs as well because they're not as tall as this one. So that really adds to a sense of confidence as well as a sense of purpose when you're inside this car, and it also makes you feel very muscular and brawny when you are driving the Endeavour. Well, the other good point about the Endeavour is its ride quality, and those chunky tires on the outside mean that this car really does annihilate all the potholes without any fuss at all. And even on the longer stretches of the highway, this car feels very stable and very reassuring. It's only the very deep crevices which make their presence felt inside this cabin. Small potholes as well as those rumble strips on the road really have absolutely no effect inside the cabin when you are driving the Endeavour. Well, the other good point about this car is the fact that the steering wheel is pretty responsive. Now, SUVs aren't known for very feelsome steering wheels, but that said, there is a good amount of engagement from the steering wheel, and you get a lot of communication as well, which is a very good thing considering the size and weight of this car. So even though it might not be an out-and-out driver's car, no SUV really is, it is a car which offers you very good feedback from the steering wheel and also decent dynamics from the chassis. Well, most SUV owners who buy these big and bulky SUVs don't really buy them for their off-road prowess, but buy them for their image as well as luxury and the space that they offer. And it'll be no different with the owners of the new Endeavour. But that said, this car does come with Ford's terrain management system. So how to use that system? Well, all you need to do is just rotate this circular knob over here, depending on what kind of terrain you are driving on, and the electrics as well as the differentials on the front and the rear will take care of the power to the four wheels and really get you out of any muddy situation. Well, overall engine refinement is pretty good, and especially if you are someone who sits in the second row as well as the third row, then the diesel clatter won't really be getting to you, and that's a good thing if you prefer to be driven by your driver on those long highway trips and don't drive yourself. So overall, it's a pretty good car for long highway trips because it is a pretty decent place to sit, and noise, vibration as well as harshness levels are well under control. Well, the Endeavour really does come across as the best SUV in India at this price point. It offers you massive road presence on the outside, a huge and comfortable cabin on the inside, as well as a long list of features to make you feel luxurious as well. All that along with those two engine options means that this car is the best bet in the SUV space at this price point. But if you're not convinced about the Endeavour and want something different, then you can always check out our review of the Toyota Fortuner by clicking on this video link over here, and also its other rival, the Chevrolet Trailblazer, by clicking over here. And as always, don't forget to subscribe by clicking on this link above. It's bye for now and hope to see you soon.